Boy howdy, time flies when you're having fun. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Between the Sharks. Here we are with the 1993 Buick Roadmaster Survivor car. This thing has 77,000 original miles. A couple weeks ago, it was 100 billion degrees. I charged the AC and the whole system worked. It has an automatic climate control system. However, it didn't hold a charge even overnight. So, in an unusual turn of events, I actually took it to a shop, which is something I usually reserve for transmissions. Now, I've never had to fix AC. I don't know anything about AC. I dropped it off. The shop told me it had a major leak in the compressor seal and they would need to replace the dryer and whatever. And I said, okay, and I braced myself. And then they came in double my cringe, maybe I could pay it number, at over 1,500 American dollars. And they said, once we get that done, we don't actually know if there'll be more. And I said, don't touch it, don't touch it. I'm on my way, don't touch it. In the back of the car from Discount AC Parts, I ordered some bits and bobs and a vacuum pump from Beaver via Lowe's. That's under $500 for everything. And I thought, well, maybe I'll give it a whirl and try to fix it. I did not expect $1,200 in labor when the compressor is sitting right on top and this doohickey is sitting right on top. We're gonna see if we can make it mo better. That's interesting. I don't think they're supposed to come that way, but yeah, it's gonna be fine. So this is a new compressor. I don't think it's rebuilt. I think it's brand new. It says add oil. The kit came with oil. Forget what these Jimmy Jams are called, but it came with a bunch of those. And then it came with this thing. As you guys can tell, I know very little about AC, but I am, gonna give it a whirl. Got Scotty Kilmer on my side. But you might want to stick through till the end to see if I get it right before you get the information you need and go do your project, because I don't know what I'm doing. It's never stopped me before. It's not going to stop me now. So this says it's got 3 ounces of oil in it. It needs 8 ounces. This sticker was on this spot, which is the suction port, which according to my calculations seems to be where you add the oil. So we got to add 5 more ounces to it before we hook it up. Hopefully everything's going to work out okay. I am a little nervous that when I take something apart that I'm gonna find myself in a position where the pieces don't fit and then I take a perfectly good running vehicle and make it a not running vehicle. So now this is one of those things, if your compressor just locked up or something like that, you've got to evacuate the system and get the refrigerant out, and it needs to be collected by a refrigerant collection thingamadoodle. You can do that with a vacuum pump. Our system is empty right now. If yours isn't, maybe just take it to the shop, have them do that part for you. There we go. This car may be totally obsolete, but it's way newer than anything that I work on. Like, it's voodoo in here. Under there's a small block Chevy, but this serpentine belt and AC is like wizardry. Oh no. I was gonna say, I'm not really sure if this is metric or standard. I'm pretty sure it's metric, and all my metric tools are somewhere scattered around the Datsun. All right, I think I got enough stuff hanging out in this chaos. I want to make sure that this fitting is the same, because I just don't know what I'm dealing with. Banjo bolt. All right. That's all flat. Let's take a look at this one. Yikes. Man, should not be this afraid of this, but I am. Stumbled onto something on the internet about this. I don't fully understand what it means, but the depth from the ring, the ridge here to the seat is bigger on the new one. I'm gonna go ahead and take my cheapo Harbor Freight calipers and we'll take a closer look at this. 0.164.075. Okay. All right, I definitely had high hopes of this just sort of, going smoothly. Change in GM stuff happened 92, 93, and the change was these compressors went from a 5/8 fitting to a 5/8 3/4 fitting. So I've got 5/8 lines, and I need stepped 5/8/3/4 lines. So I rolled up to the O'Reillys and I went and talked to my people there and said, hey, people there, do you guys know what the deal is with this? And they looked, and there's different part numbers for 92, 93, 94 Buicks. So they ordered me what I believe to be the 1994 hoses, which should kind of jump us to this style. We're gonna go boldly forward as if we're going to figure this out. Here. See how much of this stuff fits our new stuff. And then once we get a sense of what fits and what doesn't fit, we're gonna get all brand new lines and see what fits on that stuff. And so it's gonna be so fun. this is the price of learning something new by doing it. This is just the stuff you got to work through. So have a chuckle about it. It's the idiot tax. This is what you get for trying to learn. No sense of getting frustrated. Here we are. So I guess worst case, I can put everything back together the way I had it, and it still won't work. But the car will run again, because it doesn't now, because it's got no belts on it. God. All right, let's do it. I got about an hour and a half before my parts get in at the O'Reilly's. So got this box from a viewer named Mark. He'd reached out that he had some door panels from his Blazer project that he didn't need anymore and wanted to send them my way. And I said, thanks, I'd really appreciate that. And I sent him that shovel head air cleaner that seems to be very, very coveted from one of the videos. I'll put it up here where we did a clean out. So anyway, let's open these up, see if we can make this mo better. I have tape over where the armrest used to go because underneath the door panel was a very sharp piece of metal. I've lost many a shirt to that. Well, I'd say lost, but I still wear ripped shirts because who wants to go clothes shopping? Oh. Would you look at that? Super rad. All right, it's got its own drawer. Anybody home? Yes. All right. Just because I have a place for it doesn't mean it's there, gang. These are great. They're very cheap. The auto parts store, if you don't know you need it, well, if you got an old Chevy and you got to take the window handles off, you need it. So normally you have a door panel and a washer and this little clip, kind of, see how that guy works right there? This thing slides in and pushes that clip out. That's all it does. You need to pop it back this way, and then you can see when you snap that thing in, it just hooks in and it grabs onto that little doodabber. So if you're trying to pry these things off with a screwdriver, not gonna work, homie. Oh, just yeah. All right. Look how great that looks. Man, that's great. I appreciate this very much. I'm so jazzed about the wood grain matching the wood grain. The brown matches the brown. All right, gang. We got a couple minutes still before the parts get here. So we're gonna dive into this Weaver vacuum pump. These hanging downy gauges have always intimidated me, but today we're gonna face our fears. All right, gotta learn how to use one of these. I got a bad feeling at the ranch we're gonna be doing some of our own HVAC work, so I gotta learn how these things work. If I did my shopping right, this should come with the gauges and fittings for both R134A and R410 or whatever the refrigerant is for the house. See, I don't know anything about that either. All right, instructions are pretty clear on the process here. You do have to add oil before you start it up. You got to fill it with oil, we got to run it, we got to check it, we got to do the whole thing. I'm not going to bore you with the process because it's right here in the manual, but I am going to go ahead and get it set up so that we are ready to go should these lines work out from the O'Reilly's. These things have always intimidated me, but maybe we're going to figure it out today because, well, it's color coded, so we might be able to do it. I got to diagram them and I'll go get them attitude. It's a good day to have a good day, right? Like, why be mad about choosing to do this? All right, sports fans, got new AC lines. I think these are 94 Buick. Now the 94 Buick is a totally different animal. We've learned some stuff today. It's stepped the right way, but the tube size isn't correct. They're both 5/8. There's another hose coming in tomorrow, and that may be the right answer for us. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. All right, this is where experience would help. And that's how we're gonna get experience. We're gonna probably make some mistakes. The issue we have here is this is a 3/4 opening here, and this is a 5/8 Jimmy Jam. I'm not really sure what to say about it. This is for a 94 Buick Roadmaster. In 94, the only compressors that were available were 5/8 3/4. So they were this, and this is the part number that came up for this thing. So interesting. All right, I don't know anything. That was a lot of crud on there, so I feel inclined to just blow the system out with some compressed air. You're supposed to do a solvent and then compressed air and then use a vacuum pump. Guess we'll fire up the old Weaver air compressor here. compressed air can lead to moisture in the system, but we got to get the moisture out with a vacuum pump anyway. So if there's debris in there, hopefully that'll help. This is us getting experience by potentially screwing it all up. Fortunately, not a lot of junk is coming out of there. All right, we're using the stuff that came with the kit. Got a triple check. Sticker says it's already got 3 ounces of oil. We need 8 ounces total. That's 5 ounces, team. For any of you guys at home doing the mathematics along with me here. All right, 5 on the money. You can hear the pistons moving in there. All right, seems like it could work. I don't know if it will work, but I don't know what to do if it doesn't work. And hopefully we can make these lines work somehow. There's a bunch of stuff in the way. This is the learning curve when you, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. I just made a huge mistake. Want to vomit a little. So I bought this adapter kit, has instructions and little pilot bushings, and I was test fitting these. These need to get pushed into the lines, but I don't know what line I'm going to use. So I was just trying to fit everything, and I knocked one into here. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I don't know how I'm going to get it out either. Poo. A bore scope. See if this will help. Not a good start to the day. I bought another set of lines, and they're like the factory ones, so they're not stepped to match the compressor. So we're just in a world of like trying to make parts that almost fit. That's what this is for, until I made that mistake. Oops. I can see the edge of it floating there in the oil. There it is. Well, it came with a little hook attachment. I'm gonna try to fish this thing out using the camera. Hookovision. All right, I drained the oil. I went back in to look for it, and then I just turned it over and it fell right out. I just can't believe that. Oh, the relief when you get yourself out of something dumb that you got yourself into. I do love that bore scope, but boy, my stress level just went from like 0 to 11 to like euphoric. Recenter. This project is taking forever because I don't want to mess it up. This instruction packet, it's not doing me a ton of good, but what it is doing is providing me with a variety of stepped washers to deal with the differences between the size of this machining and the depth of this machining versus what was here. I think at the end of the day, I'm just gonna have to put it all together to make it work the way that it makes sense to work now. All right, so I got to evacuate the system anyway, and I know that it's empty. So before even putting vacuum in it, I just jammed the air compressor up, closed the low side, but I'm gonna let that marinate right there at 50 PSI on the low side. Eventually we'll see if it moves, and then we'll get some soapy water to see where it moves. Basically, we're just using 50 pounds of pressure to check leaks in the system. All right, that is holding pressure. All right. All right, we are pulling all kinds of vacuum here. I just did a cheater quick test to see if it would hold for right now. I gotta let it run for like an hour and change. Did some research, seems like you can pull it from just one side because it's all I have access to right now. All right, the vacuum pump has been clattering away. I ran the low side for at least an hour and 20 minutes. The high side for about the last 45, 50 minutes because I had to go get the fitting and all that stuff. It seemed to hold pressure, so now we're gonna shut these valves down 30 inches of vacuum. Close these. Shut that down. You can see there, we're at negative 30. Negative 30. I'm gonna go run an errand or two, and we're just gonna let this sit. And if this system holds vacuum, then we have at least a general belief that it's not pulling air in, which if it's not pulling air in because of the vacuum, then everything's sealed, and it should hold Freon and whatever the refrigerant is. Fingers crossed. I kind of need a win today. There's a lot going on beyond the AC needing a bunch of fittings and me chasing parts and stuff like that. You know, there's life outside of AC, and it hasn't been great today, but you know what? It's a beautiful night. We're gonna make something of it. I'm gonna do my best to do that. But I got an order that just came in at the big box store, so I'm gonna go battle traffic, try to get that. And by the time I get back, hopefully these gauges are still feeling pretty groovy. All right, gang, it's been holding for 45 minutes or so, maybe even longer than that. We're still at negative 30 inches of water, mercury, whatever. And the system held pressure, which is great news. So I guess we're ready to fill it, which makes me nervous. I gotta see if I got a scale, because I would like to do this by weight if possible. All right, my scale's out of batteries. Not ready for any more defeat today, because you know, we've survived what defeat we've had kind of smiling, and we're gonna try to keep it that way. I realized that I disconnected this in the wrong order, so I just pulled some more vacuum on it for a little while, just in case I accidentally let a little moisture in the system. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I'd known that this was just gauges that connect to a vacuum pump, I'd have been a lot less scared of it. Oh, it's bright and early. Got a couple little brown dog coffee. Hopefully this AC works before we don't need it anymore this season. All right, gang, so I'm just gonna weigh the cans ahead of time. This claims that it's 11 ounces of juice in there, but the can weighs 15.4 ounces. So we can just measure the can on the other side of this, and we'll know how much juice we got into the system. That is ice cold. What's cooler than being cool? Ice cold. Do we call it a success, gang? Do we say that we actually fixed our AC? All in with the purchase of the compressor, the dryer, the filter thingies, this vacuum pump with the manifold kit. I think I'm in under 500 bucks. And they quoted me $1,500 to do the work, and it's a reputable repair shop. All they do is AC and cooling systems. Once they determined the compressor was leaking, which they told me for free, I walked in and said, hey, how much do I owe you? They said, no, we'll do the diagnosis for free. As much as I wanted their expertise and I didn't want to learn how to do this stuff, they left me no choice. The other thing is they gave me no guarantee. They said, well, if we fix the compressor, we'll do the dryer, accumulator, and then after that we'll have to see if there's anything else that's bad. And so it was like $1,500 is the tip of the iceberg, you say. And I didn't pay $1,500 for the whole car. I said, well, all right, then I can't have you do that. Just, I'll come get it. All right, gang. It's 85 degrees out here. Figure we'll go for a cruise and see how this like living room on wheels feels with air conditioning. All right, gang, it's pretty wild. I've never had a car with AC before. I've got cars with AC, never with working AC before. So by diving in, we saved ourselves $1,000 American and got a new tool out of it. We saved a boatload of money, fixed something. That's a lot of wins, gangs. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate the support very, very much. Good luck on your projects out there, and we will see you next time on Between the Sharks. Who knows what we'll be doing then. Just sitting here because I can't believe it works.